Welcome back, students. This is tutorial number 2 in the Photoshop series. Make sure you watch the first one if you haven't already. The first tool we're going to look at today is the Move tool. This allows you to move all of your images around the work area. You'll also notice that each image that you paste into Photoshop is placed in its own layer. These layers are very important when using Photoshop. Let's start by clicking the layer with the puppy in it. Before we try moving the puppy around, we need to make it so that you can only move the images that are in that selected layer. To do this, make sure that the Auto Select option is unchecked. This will make things a lot easier as we progress. Now, try using the Move tool to move around the puppy image. Notice that you'll be unable to move the other dog image around unless you select that layer. Layer management is very important. The first thing you should do when inserting an image into Photoshop is to name the layer. You can do this by double-clicking the text in the layer window. Make sure that you name it something that relates to the image inside the layer. In this case, the layer should be named Puppy, Dog, and Background. You'll also notice that the dog image is in front of the puppy image in the work area. The order of these images directly relates to the order of the layers. So if you want the dog to be behind the puppy, simply drag the dog layer below the puppy layer. It's also very helpful to be able to hide and show your layers. If you ever need to do this, click the eye symbol to the left of the layer. Toggling this on and off is also a good way to identify what is actually in the layer. To further organize your layers, you can make use of folders. This is very useful when working with a large amount of layers. To add a folder, click the folder button at the bottom of the layer window. Then simply drag the layer into the folder. The folders can then be renamed, then open and closed, which will help when your compositions get more complex. Finally, we're going to take a look at our second tool, the Zoom tool. By selecting it, then clicking on the work area, you can zoom into a selected location, which will help out later. To zoom out, simply hold Alt when clicking the work area. When you do this, you'll notice that the plus changes to a minus. But in my opinion, using the Zoom tool is actually a lot of unnecessary clicking and is something that I never use. An easier way to zoom is to hold down the Alt key and then scroll the wheel of your mouse back and forth. This can be done regardless of what tool you have selected at the time. I encourage you to use this method to zoom in the future, as it will save a lot of time in the long run. Now that we've learnt the basics, it's time to move on to the next tutorial where we'll be covering making selections and then deleting unwanted parts of our images.